class. This is the third lesson for Tuesday, May the 20th. We're going to continue last week's discussion about conditionals, real and unreal, or zero, first, second, third conditionals. We talked a little about the zero conditional. We talked about the fact that it is that true statement, true because there's evidence that we can rely upon, and perhaps this is whatever the situation has occurred over and over again to create this evidence, such as if you heat ice, it will melt, or if I travel in a car, I get car sick. For someone for whom that is a problem, they know because of experience, they can rely on the fact that they will get car sick if they travel in a car. I'm glad to say that's not me. I don't get sick, and I'm so happy about that. But the zero conditional are those things that we can depend upon. And we looked at real conditionals, and we looked at the way that we might use those real conditionals. Of course, we have the if clause, the if plus the present simple, and will plus the base verb to create the conditional clause and the outcome clause, or we might call it the result clause. So if this happens, this will happen. We looked at that with such things as giving information. If you see Sarah, say hello for me, okay? A possibility exists that your friend is going to see your other friend Sarah. If you see her, say hello for me. So a real possibility there. Things that are other things that are likely or probable in the future might be something like, if I don't leave now, I'll get caught in traffic. We have that big time in Atlanta, right? Under normal circumstances, we know that if we don't get going by a certain hour, that we will hit traffic. So it's a very likely circumstance that we will be late somewhere if we don't get going. So if I don't leave now, I will be stuck in traffic, or I will be late for work. Probable or real possibilities. We might also use the real to persuade. We may not always think about it that way, but it is a real tool, language tool for persuasion, to use that if condition, with another person to persuade them. I think of this very often with children because children really like to persuade. I almost think of it as a bargain. If I do this, you can have this, or if I do this, then you can do that. Does that sound like children to you? But we adults do it as well. So if you let me ride your bike, I'll let you play my video game. A real possibility, okay? And the child is putting that out there as, kind of a temptation. If you don't tell Mom that I climbed on the counters, I'll get a cookie for you while I'm up there, okay? So, sneakiness. But we adults do it as well. If I mow the grass today, will you trim the weeds tomorrow. Make a bargain with our spouse on the yard work, maybe. Or if we take the vacation of your choice this year, we will take the vacation of my choice next year. Okay? Again, making that bargain. Sometimes we use the real conditional in a warning sense. If you aren't careful, you will fall. We issue that warning to a child who's climbing, to a spouse who's on the ladder. If you misbehave in the grocery store today, you will not play outside this afternoon when you get home. We issue a warning using that conditional language. If you don't take this medication every day, you will have continuing problems with your heart. Okay? Sometimes it's not meant to scare someone or to threaten them, but it's often a statement of truth and importance, and it can come across a little bit as a warning. Now, when we move into the second conditionals, we move into the if plus the past tense, and then we would use would. Oh, excuse me. Can't get the tops off of these sometimes. W-O-U-L-D. Okay. Or some past tense version, and it might sound a bit like this. If you went to Mexico today, you would find people, what's the word? I can't think of you would find people social distancing. I don't know if you would or not. But it's kind of an unreal, isn't it? Because first of all, if I never wanted to go to Mexico today, I probably couldn't, because I probably couldn't get a flight, okay? I'm certainly not going to choose to go to Mexico in this kind of environment of coronavirus. So if you went to Mexico today, you would find people social distancing. That's an unreal, unlikely scenario. If I were better at Spanish, I could, okay, using the modal could instead of would, I could be a translator. If I were better at Spanish, I could become a translator. Well, I can say with all honesty, in that situation, I'm not good at Spanish, okay, at all. I'm nowhere near proficient enough to even think about translating anything. I only know a few words that I can use, a few phrases that I can use, and that's about it. So it's an extremely unlikely situation that I would ever become good enough at Spanish to become a translator. We might also use this in expressing advice or expressing a bit of a warning. If I were you, I'd be careful about going into restaurants right now. Now, the reason that becomes unlikely is that you aren't that other person. It's not only unlikely, it's impossible. You can't become them. So the part of that statement, that conditional part, if I were you, is not only unlikely, it's impossible. You aren't them and you never will be, okay? So when we use it that way, it comes across as advice, possibly a warning, depending on how we say it. You know, we could say it in a bit of a tone that would sound like a warning. If I were you, I would never talk to so-and-so again. It sounds like we're almost threatening them, okay? But it's an unreal conditional. We aren't them. It's really none of our business to begin with. We probably shouldn't be expressing advice on something that it does not directly involve us, right? Nevertheless, people do it all the time. I've been guilty of it. You probably have been guilty of it. Now, if someone asks us for advice, what would you do if such and such? Then, well, if I were you, I might, using a different modal verb, I might consider this or that. And so that can be received well by others. Going a little further into unreals, we get into the third of the unreals, the third conditional, and this one gets into speculation about possibilities in the past which didn't actually happen. Speculation means to kind of guess at something, okay? To guess at possibilities in the past which didn't happen. And this gets a little more interesting. It might come out something like this. If I'd saved more money, I would have gone to more countries in South America. I didn't save much money, so I only went to 4 countries. When we speculate about what we could have done in the past, that's quite a common thing for us to do, because lots of times we have regrets, don't we? We are disappointed in ourselves or disappointed in some situations that didn't allow us to do what we wanted to do. And so we express that. If I had known that children could bring me so much joy, I would have had more children. Somebody could say that after so many years. If I had studied science, I could have I could have become a botanist, which I would have really enjoyed. I think that's true for me. If I had studied science, I could have become a botanist. I love plants. I love learning about plants. I love watching them grow. I love all of that. But it's impossible. It's in the past. It didn't happen. There's no way I can go back and change it now. Well, I guess I could if I wanted to go to 4 more years of university. At my age, I don't think that's going to happen. It is a regret sometimes when we think about things that we could have done, right? Where we wish we had done. And we can't dwell on that because the past is the past. But we do use that third conditional quite a lot in expressing things that could have or would have. There's a little saying with the modal verbs, woulda, coulda, shoulda. Those are, we say those things, we use that language a lot, but it really doesn't necessarily help us to feel any better, okay? Because there's no way we can go back and change things, and we have the life that we have, right? But that's what happens. So all of these conditionals are fun. I'm going to send you a practice page that you can do, and we will go over it together. It's not a test or anything like that, just for you to practice conditionals if you would like to do that at home, and then we will go over those next week. So I hope you've enjoyed this review, and I'm going to stop here for this group of lessons, and then the lessons for Thursday will be coming right up. Thanks everyone, and have a good day.